There's a few people that does it straight live.
Straight live.
Straight
live. That doesn't sound right, Kevin. You're gonna get
us crooked.
Already. We had 2 minutes into the new season and
left turn. Round in circles. I don't know.
There it is. There it is. Here we are. How is everybody doing? Kevin, how are you doing?
Doing fine. I'm inviting people to the page right now. So
been a 2-month hiatus. This is episode 117. We've got a blank canvas in front of us now. We're in a new location, so this is a little weird. We're gonna Wayne's World. We got the
top
Wayne's World
secret location. No one can find us. So
yes.
We can shut down and get out before the FCC shows up.
Oh, that's nonsense, Kevin. But yeah, we have Angie Evans below us now. We got a little new stuff at Art House 310. She's got some things going on, keeping busy.
Yeah, always. Yeah.
Always. Like I said, I watched a little bit of the YouTube channel and stuff and was like, wow, that's a lot. That's a lot.
It's a lot. It's a lot. It's good. Good stuff.
But yeah, we're gonna start a new series called Artificial World. I've got a sketch in front of us too that nobody else can see, so I didn't even load it in. But we're gonna start with that, and then we're gonna get a little funky, get a little texture to it.
Yeah, it's just anybody that knows us, we got a reference up there. By the time I'm done with it, it's not even going to look close to the reference necessarily. Yeah, because that's what happens when you have collaborations become very interesting. Have you ever done any collaborations?
Yeah, a couple. But yeah, you're exactly spot on. They never really turn out exactly how you would imagine going in. And sometimes it's better. Sometimes it's like, well, that didn't work.
We've done a few of those, and we got some that we're going to repaint, I think, in the future. Yeah. So
definitely got a pile of, we tried it, but
Yep. Recycle pile.
Yeah. Well, we used to try to finish within the hour too. And we started out pretty strong, and then it got weird.
Yeah.
I guess is the word. We were asking suggestions from the audience, and they were just like, put a dinosaur climbing a mountain, flying with Superman over the moon. I don't know. So we just, okay.
Thanks a lot.
We're not going to do that anymore. Thank you.
No. But like I said, we've slowed down with one because of the canvases and the supplies. I mean, a canvas every week that, adds up.
For sure.
And you're probably very aware of it. Our prices have they've skyrocketed.
Oh, man. Yeah.
It's art supplies. And canvases I used to buy for 10 are now 15. I expect stuff to go up, but not like that.
Yeah, it's just like overnight. It just,
I mean, the frames. Did I say canvases? I wish I was buying canvases at $10.
You're starting to sound like my mom.
Your mom.
The prices.
Back in my day.
But yeah, so like I said, we went and talked with you last Friday, right? That's when we came by, and Sara and Rachel were doing their first Friday, right? First Friday.
Yeah.
And that's how we coerced you into doing this. We appreciate you coming on.
Yeah, it didn't take a whole lot, so.
No. Like I said, it's fun. I didn't know you were an artist as well, and that's when I found the page, and so I was like, oh yeah, she's just doing the same thing we're all trying to. Every artist is trying to do. Forge out a little piece of heaven.
Right. That's the goal, and trying to do it and keep our head above water and balance everything else in life. But
yeah. So when did you start Art House 310?
Art House 310, we officially opened in June of 2020. So, the most opportune time ever to do anything.
Yeah.
So you could say it was a pretty slow start. We had just a couple really small tests in the waters. Do we open? Do we not? Kind of things. And then we really kicked off in February of 21. So we've had shows every first Friday since then, every month throughout the year, except for January, because January's gross and we don't want to do anything in January.
Yeah.
But yeah, going strong. It's been a wild ride.
It's awesome. And what, like I said, we got Sara and Sarah Grant and Rachel Hermes this month.
Yeah.
Next month is let me bring the slide up and let you talk about that for a minute.
Yeah, Sara and Rachel's work will hang through the 24th, and we'll have a closing reception on the 24th, which is the last Sunday of the show from 1 to 4. But we're usually open a couple of evenings during the week and a Sunday afternoon. And then our next show, which kicks off on first Friday in April, which is April 5th, is Dennis McPhail and Jason Crile. That's going to be a wild show. Dennis is a hot rod guy and a tattoo artist. He also owns Artists at Large, and just he's a phenomenal artist as well. So he's going to come in with a ton of work and some of his car buddies and see what happens. So hopefully the weather's really nice, and we hope to see everyone out. So.
Yeah, sounds like a good time. I've seen Dennis's stuff. Like I said, the job. I see a lot of artists come through, and so I mean, I don't have to get on social media to see a lot of the stuff. It's just all coming to me. So it's like, oh,
yeah, that's nice. Nice way to keep up on it.
Yeah,
he's a good guy. I've seen him. Went to him for tattoos for years, and actually, this is kind of how this show came about. I was in there towards the end of last year, getting some work done, and he said, "When are you going to invite me to do a show?" So, well, damn, Dennis, I thought that was an unspoken thing. And so then he got really excited about it. And so we got it on the calendar and made it happen. So excited to see what he brings. Yeah. I stopped by the other day and I told him, I said, Dennis, you got to stop making work. Like he just cranks out work like a mad person. Yeah. I mean, just a ridiculous amount of artwork. So, and then Jason's work's pretty cool. He does some light painting photography.
Yeah.
So, different than normal photography kind of stuff that you'd expect, and it's pretty neat stuff. It's gonna be a great show.
Yeah, I'm gonna definitely check that one out as well. You do a little photography too. That's kind of how you started, according to what I heard. The word on the street,
The word on the street. Yeah, the word on the street's correct. I started in photography. I mean, back in high school. That's kind of how I got my toes wet in the art world.
Yeah.
And lived in the dark room for much of high school and college, and went on to shoot weddings for about a decade, and really loved that, and blew out my back. So life said, sorry, I can't do that anymore.
Yeah.
So every once in a while, I'll still get the camera out and shoot a wedding every once in a while, maybe once every couple of years for just a good friend or somebody I know, but kind of put the camera away a little bit and moved on to paint.
It's fun. Like I said, I've painted since high school, and then it wasn't till I think it was 19 I did my first painting in like 20 years. And of course I picked a portrait. And I mean, I've been kind of doing, messing with the digital art. I love digital art because I love Control Z. Undo is the greatest.
Right.
I don't like that.
If we could just have that in life, that'd be awesome.
Yes, exactly. That is the greatest. If I could have anything in life, it would be undo.
Yeah.
But then we wouldn't learn the lessons that we were supposed to. So it'd be like that movie Click. We'd be abusing it.
Or remote.
Yeah, you're probably right.
Remote. Next thing you know, oops, that's right. I'm so used to being right here.
The old studio, we could just kind of talk around the room. It kind of made it canny a little bit, but we kind of figured it out. This one, we don't have that. So he's turning and looking at me trying to talk.
Yeah. Because before at home right there, and I could. Now I'm like, oops.
Yeah.
So I don't know if I came across, but yeah.
Now that we've got a cord, maybe we could move that, but not this time.
Yeah.
So this is the first setup in this. So, I mean, it's a new adventure. I spent the last 2 weeks getting a mobile setup for everything and getting us new mics, and like I said, we got the couch. I'm at a friend let us use his studio, and I'm like, leave the couch. We're gonna Wayne's World it, So.
Wayne's World.
Maybe next episode I'll get a Wayne's World home homage, intro.
There you go.
Wayne's World.
Just Wayne's World art.
Artisol. It's art time. Party on, Kevin.
Party on, Wayne.
Party on. But yeah, so photography was your favorite medium.
Yeah. I still have a deep love for photography, and it changed a little bit when everything went digital, and it took me a little bit to kind of convert over, but I do enjoy digital now too. So, but having all that kind of the base foundational knowledge of how it works in the dark room and how the chemicals work and the processing, it really has crossed over to a lot of different mediums. So I've done screen printing. And so that whole process of burning the screens and putting the emulsion on and all that, it's really, really similar to the darkroom process. Yeah. So it's kind of neat how it all works together, and it just kind of find those little surprises every now and then. It's like, oh yeah, I know what this is. This is pretty cool. So, yep. So nowadays I'm doing a little bit of everything. Most of my stuff nowadays is ink and resin. So alcohol ink and usually just a top coat with resin. I really like shiny things. So there's not a whole lot else you can find that has a finish like that. So I really like the process of it, and I get to use a blowtorch. So, I think that's a win.
I didn't touch it.
Yeah, it went dark over there. Hold on.
I didn't do it.
Technical difficulties. Please hold.
Yes. I need that. Definitely need that screen. Yeah. There are definitely things I'm going to change next time. But like I said, I think we're going to do it probably once a month for a little bit until we get our feet back into this, and maybe not. Maybe every other week. But we were doing it once a week. Last year we stayed pretty faithful with it, and because it's good therapy. I enjoy talking to other people. We've got artists, we've had musicians, small business owners. We had some Beyond Legend coffee. It's great coffee.
Yeah.
And so that's what we've been trying to do, just promote, paint a little bit, talk about art with people and music. I have a Saturday podcast where I talk about music, so I try to not talk about music too much on here now. Save it for the other one.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate you guys doing that.
I talk about my band when I'm going to play. That's about it.
There you go. Now, there's always been people locally that's tried to do different things with the arts and promote it in different ways, but man, it's a lot to keep up with. Yeah. And so, any additional effort to promote local artists or musicians or local business in general is greatly appreciated, because, there's just, it's hard. It's tough being a small business owner. And usually if you're a musician or artist, you're also technically a small business owner, whether you have a brick and mortar or not, you're still making something and selling something and, producing work. So any support that's available out there is, it's a big deal.
Yeah, true community is what's needed.
Yeah,
makes it easier, and it's kind of hard for me because I've turned into a hermit. I'm like, I don't want to go out and do things.
Yeah, no, I feel that. We have our first Friday shows here, and often people ask if we're open Saturday after, and I'm like, no, I need to deep people and just like sit in a room by myself for a little bit and just get that out of my system a little bit, because it's a lot to be on all the time and try to make sure everybody has everything they need, and it's kind of exhausting.
It is. What's the regular hours there? I'm going to flash that screen back on there because
So we have some pretty consistent hours. We'll put it that way. It's usually during a show, which the shows usually hang for about 3 weeks out of the month. It's usually Tuesday and Thursday evening from 6 to 9 and Sunday from 1 to 4. And that varies just a little bit. We post our weekly hours on our Facebook and Instagram, which is at ArtHouse310 each week. It varies a little bit depending on if there's other events going on or holidays or if we have something else going on that week or whatever that we can't get out of, but we try to stay pretty consistent with that, with those hours.
Yeah. I think, I don't know, like I said, I don't know if I linked the Facebook to the description, but I'll go back and get it linked in so that, it will be in the description soon. I promise.
Sure. Yeah, appreciate
I got
it.
the child's art done now.
Yeah, child's art.
It looks like a sideways hamburger.
Oh, yeah.
Because I haven't eaten dinner or lunch today.
Well,
So.
I'd intended on this one to be diamond, hence the black, but I forgot to tell you, and I forgot to bring something to keep it stable. So,
oh, oops! I see. Yeah.
Hey, like I say, we're gonna get pretty crazy.
We'll just paint the diamond in it.
Yeah, we're gonna get pretty crazy on the this artificial. He doesn't know it yet. I haven't told. I tried to explain my idea, my concept, but it's hard to articulate.
You know what? I'll come in like whose line it is anyway, and you just tell me, and I'll interpret it what it says, because I do that anyway. I'll interpret what you say.
With the flow.
Yeah.
Well, you want to pick up? So I think we've touched on a few questions.
Because I know you talked about him being a hermit and stuff, and I'm a little bit of the opposite. I love doing live artwork. I love putting on the show, and that's the reason I was saying maybe one of these days when you do a Final Friday, I can set up nice days, just sit about that front there, just start painting and have a friend come by with an acoustic guitar, and the main artist will be inside. I'll just be outside just to entertain the people waiting to get inside or something.
Yeah.
You got a pretty decent crowd when we walked in. I can imagine how, and more were showing up as we left. So
yeah, and really what we found is just the consistency that we are open every first Friday except for January, with 6 to 10. So we're stay open a little bit later than some of the other places. We found out that works really well for us because it spans it out a little bit, and people like to get to the other places before they close, and then they will come here because they know we're open a little bit later. But that consistency has really made all the difference, and we usually have a pretty good crowd. So we're excited for the rest of this year, and we've got a full lineup throughout 2024 and starting to look at 2025, which is just mind-blowing weird.
I'll get in about 2028 maybe.
Yeah, if I'm not retired to a beach at that point, man, I'll be happy to bring you in.
Well, the real cool thing about, you talk about the Final Fridays and going to other places and stuff like that, none of them have the same format. That's what I think is so cool. You literally go to a different studio and they're just different. There's a vibe, different feel for every single one of them. So you may not like the one, but you'll find, if you go to, let's say there was probably about 5 or 6 Final Fridays at actual galleries on Friday. And if you would have actually went to all of them, there's probably 1 or 2 of them you'd have really jived with. That's
for sure.
I didn't go to them all, but
it's really hard to try to make all of them. We're back to pre-COVID. There's no way you could make it to all of the shows in one evening, and I feel like we're slowly getting back there, and that's really exciting because it just means there's more art out there in the city.
Well, and people are really wanting to be entertained now. And I think after COVID woke a lot of eyes up.
Yeah,
if anything, it's increased. The participation has.
Yeah, because
when everybody had to be locked up in their houses for 45 to 3 months, something like that.
Yeah,
it's just insanity.
Yeah, everybody was looking at their boring walls and their,
My artwork took off during that time period because I was doing a lot of at-home live, and that's where I developed my the speed stuff, because I don't know, for some reason I was super anxious and I could not slow myself down, so I just ran with it. So that's where I developed how I could do portraits of people in 20 minutes.
Well, I kind of want to go back and touch on how do people get, like, if you're an artist wanted to get into your gallery, how do we do that? Through your website?
Yeah, on our website we have a tab that is called Artist Submissions, and it's just a form, and it asks some questions and kind of outlines what we look for in an artist. We heavily promote the individual artwork for sale, and we are a for sale gallery, so we look for art that would be appropriate for general consumerism, and we try our best, because what we think sometimes doesn't always work too. Everybody's tastes are a little different, but something that people would be okay hanging on their walls, and it doesn't mean it has to be landscapes and florals and whatever. We like really weird stuff too. But, just kind of look for things that have, or artists that have a variety of price points, a variety of product offerings, a variety of sizes of work, and who's willing to just put in the work to make a show happen, because it's a lot of work. It's a lot of work getting your artwork ready and presentation ready and getting it all inventoried and getting title cards made and writing a statement, which is always everyone's most favorite part, to write anything about themselves. But, and we help artists work through that a little bit too, but it is a lot of work.
Taking notes, Kevin.
Huh?
Taking notes.
Taking notes of what? Trying to figure out what you're doing. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, as you can see behind me, these are all three that we worked together on.
Yeah.
Got a lot of others that are a little bit different than these. I think these are our most recent one. Yeah. The story behind this one here, they did that Misfits show at down the downtown gallery there. And we were like, how do we get invited to that? Because I had a couple of friends that were from out of town invited into it.
Yeah.
So this was kind of our anti-Misfits show because they didn't invite us to the Wichita one.
Yeah.
But so
there's some good talent here in Wichita, and we kind of, when we started, we made a decision to only really focus on local artists, because we have so many here in town, and there's other galleries that focus on regional and national and whatnot, and there wasn't really any place that just said, hey, we are only going to show local art, because we want to support our community and support our local artists, and have any sales and any dollars of that stay local. So and it's insane. Like, who knew that we have this much talent here in town? And every day I'm surprised by the number of artists that are popping up, and it's really neat to see. So.
The artists knew, but I think the population didn't know.
That's true. Yeah.
And known it for years, but a lot of artists from here, to make it and make a living at it, they move away.
Yeah.
And in today's world, you don't necessarily have to move away anymore, not with the way the communication is set up. So but almost all the big shows are always, oh, I'm in New York. I got a real good friend that lives in New York now because of it.
Yeah. And that's
does very well, though. She does very well, though.
Yeah.
So
but
yeah,
those big markets are tough too. I've done one show in New York, and I was really kind of surprised, because they see shows every weekend. There's a handful of shows. There's always art events and showings and galleries and fairs and everything. And so I was surprised that it felt like there wasn't really a sense of urgency to buy anything that they liked, because there'd be just another handful of shows next weekend. So, there's something to be said for the availability of art in some of those big cities. It changes the perspective of it. So I don't know. I still just love our little art community here, and people are just always in awe of the artists here, and that's just really a cool thing to see.
And one of my favorite things is when someone says, there's nothing to do in Wichita when it comes to stuff. And I start naming places like yours. And yeah, I'm in the band scene and all that. I won't even talk about the bands, because most of ours are over 21. But literally I go, dude, you know how much stuff is family friendly in this town after hours?
Right.
And well, there's nothing to do. Then you're obviously not checking out what's going on. You're sitting
exactly. Yeah. They're not
watching their video games or something all day long. Not paying attention. So,
and there's a lot of people that just stay in their 1 mile radius bubble, and they're perfectly content doing that. But I feel like sometimes those are also the same people who have that complaint. And it's like, well, and get out of your comfort zone a little bit and go try something and go see something that you wouldn't have normally done. And so there's a lot going on here.
Yeah, a lot. One question I'd like to ask is if since you're kind of got a gallery going, and you're obviously
kind of Kevin.
Kind of.
It's not open every day, and it's not open every time. So, because I've gone by a couple times, and it was like, oh shoot, I thought they were open today, and it wasn't.
Yeah.
So, but
well, there's a reason behind that.
Younger artists, or an artist that's never been into it, but they want to get started, what would be a suggestion that you would tell them besides just do it? That's what I usually tell them. You got to do it.
Yeah. Well, and that's a great piece of advice. Just jump in. I would say younger artists who wants to get started showing their work and get started in artwork is just first and foremost, like find something that you enjoy doing. Because if you're not enjoying it and you're just doing it to crank out work for sales, and if you don't sell anything, I mean, I've had plenty of shows where I haven't sold anything, then you're just disappointed and you're let down and you're like, well, I've made all this stuff and I don't know what to do with it now because it's just, I thought I was going to sell it. But find something you enjoy doing and make that your priority first over and above, trying to sell your work or trying to promote yourself as an artist. That stuff is important too. But first and foremost, find where your passion lies. And then secondly, if you're doing artwork and if you're wanting to get yourself out there, you are in a business. So you have to think like that. So artwork is, you're maybe making work 30% of the time and you are promoting it 70% of the time. So long gone are the days that you can just make something and throw it up on a wall and instantly have, a bunch of people follow you, because there's so many artists and the competition is real. And again, I use that term competition pretty lightly because there's room for all of us here. And regardless of if two artists have the exact same prompts and subject matter, the artwork's going to be completely different. So just be willing to put in the work and present yourself in a way that you want to be presented, and listen to other artists who've been there and done that, and take pieces of advice and make it what you want.
Yeah, I like how you said present yourself. I always tell people sometimes you get a lot of artists are introverts, really shy. So they put their art up and then you never see them. And they're like, I can't get any sales. I go, because they're not buying the art, they're buying you.
Yep.
I'm always able to get at least one sell almost every show I do, because I'm there shaking hands, kissing baby kind of things.
Yeah.
And a lot of people just feel, oh, he was so friendly. Let's see if we got, I can't afford his big stuff, but I have, some prints too and stickers, the little things sometimes, but then hopefully later on they'll see that piece and go, oh wait, and they'll buy actually one of the originals or something, which has happened. I have a lot of people that had prints originally and now they got some originals of mine. So
yeah, that adds up quick. And the little stuff, the stickers, the prints, whatever, I mean, it all helps fund the creation of new artwork. And you're exactly right. I've had shows, like I said, I haven't sold anything, but I had, 2 or 3 shows later and somebody said, yeah, I saw you at this one place and I really liked your work. And maybe they just weren't ready at that point, or they weren't financially ready, or whatever the case may be. But, your people will find you, but you have to put yourself out there and make yourself aware, make yourself known a little bit, and just continually, put yourself out there. And again, the consistency on that's key. But if you're trying to sell work, you're in business, and so you kind of have to think like that.
Well, the 2 you have there now, as I was there, they were selling it. They were walking around and saying hi to everybody a little bit. The younger one is a little bit shyer. I got it, but her personality showed, and I saw people just literally just eating it up and trying to, buying what they could afford.
Right.
And then on the other side, it was the same way. She's a little more friendlier, obviously a more seasoned artist, I think.
Yeah.
So, and I think with time, but I guess an old art teacher of hers came in on the one that's on the south side and said, oh my gosh, your stuff from when you first started till now is just like, and that's got to be, especially when, because if you have an art teacher that you kind of really liked and then they say how great your stuff is now, I could imagine. I couldn't, mine are all gone, but it is what it is. But
yeah, that's a huge compliment to any artist. I have my photography instructor in high school. I still see him out every once in a while. He's come in here every once in a while. He kind of still gives me crap like he did back then. But it's really neat to have that feeling of like, you did all the work and you took their advice and took their instruction and you're making something of it. And they love to see that too. And nobody likes standing there talking about themselves. It's awkward, especially in artwork. Artwork is such a personal thing. It's just really weird to put yourself out there like that. But I mean, it's just kind of part of it.
No, I get that, because a lot of people come up and ask, what was your inspiration behind this piece? And Josh knows a lot of time I'm just throwing paint at a piece and then I make something out of it, or I scribble something and I make something out of it. And I think we've learned to compliment each other now, just from our styles. And it took us a little bit because before we were always just stepping on top of each other, but now we've kind of, he's more detail oriented, I'm more composition oriented, and it just works out for us. So, but a young artist, I'm going to stay with the young artist things. Someone who has to wait a year or two to get into your gallery, what would you suggest for them to get out there in the meantime?
Yeah, I would suggest look for group shows, calls for art. There's several places that do markets here now and then. Get out there and just try your hand at that. And depending on the work, there's not all art fits in a gallery, and not all art works, in these different settings. So just trying to find where your art works and where your consumer base is. The only way to do that is to get out there and do it. And learn from it, and do it several times so you can get a really good feel for what works for you and what doesn't work for you. But also just don't get disheartened if you're if your work isn't a certain fit for a certain place, because it's really hard to not take that stuff personally. But at the end of the day, for us, for example, if we have an artist that their work we don't really feel like is going to be successful here, we're not going to waste their time, and we're not going to waste our time. And we'll be perfectly transparent about that and say, hey, we've found in the past that this type of art or this whatever it is just doesn't do great here. And that's fine. But, there's a lot of places here in town that you can get your work out there too.
And it doesn't, yeah, because there's some I will go apply, and I have at every single studio. I know for a fact maybe my art fits 10% of them, maybe.
Yeah.
I'm more, like I said, sit on the corner, just set up and start painting, and it's amazing. Yeah. Set up some of my pieces, and someone always walks by and buys something.
Yeah.
But I'm just having fun,
Right.
And I think that's what they see, especially. When he pops up and sits around long enough, I'll hand him the paintbrush. That go ahead and start painting. I haven't done anything stick figures. And I go, dude, did you see me start?
Right. We all start somewhere.
Yeah, it's almost always a stick figure. So yeah, I agree on that. You just got to get out there and kind of do it. There's some people put down the bar art, and I don't call it's actually street art to me. And I've seen that elitist attitude somewhat. And I'm like, I can show stuff in galleries too. I've done portraits. I've done, a little more mainstream stuff. It's just, I grew up in a small country town. So you can imagine when I started doing this weird stuff, they're like, oh my God, this is Satanism and stuff. And I'm like, no, it's not. It's, I started off by doing some Dr. Seuss stuff, and they're like, but then I just kind of made it my own weird stuff and stuff like that. So, and I said, there's always an audience, which really shocks me every time.
Yeah. And there's always a place too. And that's kind of, one of the things when we started, we wanted to make sure that we had a place for emerging artists, that artists are just starting out. And that was, back when I kind of got started in the local art scene. I'm not going to tell you how long ago it was, but I went through the phone book and looked at different galleries and walked in and said, hey, I'd like to do a show here. I have all this work ready, whatever. And the first question I got from every single place was, where else have you shown? And, I'd explain, well, this would be my first show, but I have this many pieces. I have this, I have that. I was ready to go. And the response I got more often than not was, well, if you haven't shown anywhere, we're not going to show you here. And so, that was always mind blowing to me, because I was like, well, how do you get in this closed circle of hell? There's no entry point, And so we wanted to really make sure that we provided an entry point for artists that are willing to do the work, even if they've never shown anywhere before. That there has to be an entry point somewhere.
There still is a little bit of elitism out there. But I think with my experience and stuff like that, I quit worrying about it a long time ago. Yeah. I'm going to show my stuff somewhere, whether you like it or not.
Right.
And it might come because of my experience and age and stuff like that. And so I really appreciate what you're trying to do. It sounds like you give some people their first shots ever.
Yeah, we've had a lot of...
It's a resume builder, and people need to learn how to do resume builders, because I've done street art. So where have you shown? Well, I've shown at Barleycorns while such and such band, big name band's playing there, and I'm doing a live piece while this band's playing.
Mm-hmm.
That goes on your resume just as easy as, hey, I was at the 310 Art Gallery and showing there for whatever.
The Louvre.
So can you tell what we're doing? Our hamburger's growing mold now.
Yeah.
Growing mold.
Yeah, I'm excited to see where this is going.
It's going to transform a lot along the way.
Yeah.
I like how it's already started.
Yeah.
I usually say that piece. A lot of times we're looking at a piece, but neither one of us were like, what are we doing?
Right. The process of getting there is sometimes a little painful. And I struggle with that too. It's like, man, this is not looking like what I wanted it to look like. And sometimes you scrap it and start over, but sometimes you're like, well, maybe just push through a little bit and we'll see what happens. And
my favorite is if someone's looking over your shoulder and they're like, what is that? And I'm like, you're not even close, because you still got to layer, you still got to shade, you got to take away and add and do whatever you're doing. And I was like, come back in an hour, come back in 2 days, come back in a week. You'll see what's going on here. And then they're like, oh my God, that was awesome.
Yeah, it's that last 10% of details that go in that really transform it. But man, getting there sometimes is painful. I think we've all felt that a little bit, sometimes more than
the reference up so we could flash it up. But I did the digital, the concept digitally on Photoshop, and then they're drawing on it, and then
you brought up an old piece of your art too.
Yeah, I threw an old piece in because I liked it, and it's it's going to be kind of the concept is what's at the center of the world there.
Maybe we should just wait and do it before the concepts compared to what we did, and then only show it then.
Maybe. I mean, I don't think
that's always interesting.
Sometimes we use references, sometimes we don't. It's just all a matter of how we feel at the time.
I always am interested in how everybody kind of goes about making their art, because like you're talking about you have a concept drawn up and references, and a lot of artists do studies or sketches beforehand. And, that's always really intriguing to me. It's I'm like, man, you spend a lot of time doing that stuff. I just kind of jump in and see what happens. And I think a little bit is like, I have a pretty low attention span. So
no, I got the scribble art. I won't sit down longer than 3 minutes and scribble stuff. And I literally got notepads upon notepads with it. And then sometimes I will take it and transfer it to something else, or I'll just paint it with the lines in there and turn it into a piece of art. It's just what I feel at the time. So, and it's usually because I'm at work and I can't sit there and do it like a full piece, but in between while I'm working with somebody, I can scribble or something like that. So.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting, the little things you can come up with during the day. There's I was involved in the Artist Inc. Program a few years. Well, it was actually during COVID, during 2020. So it was all virtual, but every week it was, maybe 3 hours, 6 to 9, I think, every week that we all met. And every week I would sit there and just like take visual notes. And it had been a long time since I had done that. And you're just, doodling things people say randomly and going back and looking at that's kind of fun. I have no idea what I was hearing when I wrote some of that stuff, but some of it kind of triggers it, like, oh yeah, that's what we were talking about. And so there's definitely something to visual note taking and just having some sort of like visual correspondence with whatever you're trying to hear. We're all pretty visual people, so it makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. Like I said, in the move, I've went through and found a lot of old pieces.
Yes, you did. Some pieces,
poems, poetry, lyrics, and stuff like that.
Some of your high school stuff, and then even some pieces we did that have been lost in the void too.
Yeah. Like I said, part 2 of this, the next thing we're going to do, we've got this painting we did. It popped up on
3 years ago.
3 years ago.
3 years ago, and I had it, but it was torn bad.
No.
Big old hole. But like I said, this process is gonna
some more.
Yeah, I'm gonna, like I said, it's gonna be fun. I'm gonna put a lot of texture to things. We're gonna go a little mixed media,
We like being challenged and doing stuff we've never done before.
If I can figure out how to glue barbed wire to the camera.
Yeah, I kind of the same way. I like to find a challenge of something new and, see like, well, let's try this, see what happens. Because I get real bored in the same stuff. And you doing all right over there?
Maybe the couch wasn't a good idea, Kevin.
Oh, no, I'm fine.
No Wayne's World.
The couch is.
Well, you can slide this now. You can move it out of the way now.
No, to help myself up.
We were, where were we? That was BusterCon and Garden Plain, right?
Garden City.
Garden City.
Garden Plain, we wouldn't have had to rent it.
Yeah, don't snap it on there, Kevin. That's loud.
Oh, was it? Sorry. Well, we need more.
That was 2 weeks ago. They had a little Comic-Con out there, and he did something. He stressed out his knee. He'd been helping friends move, helped me move a little bit, and so his knee kind of has been gimping him up.
Yeah, that's so good. Man, sucks getting old.
Yeah.
Yeah, I went from being okay, I could warm up and walk around to, and it was right at the, I did it because I wanted to get out of, loading in is what, or loading out is what it was. No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, all of a sudden, I've never had my knee hurt that bad.
Yeah.
So I hope something's not torn.
Yeah, that wouldn't be good.
Getting old.
Getting old. Better than the alternative, though, right?
I don't know. Benjamin Button it. I don't know.
Well,
if I had the knowledge, if you had the knowledge you would have had gained going from an old back, maybe, but I don't know how you'd have that.
Yeah.
You'd be a dummy as about the middle, I didn't figure life out till about 30, 35.
What are you talking about? I haven't figured
it out. That's still pretty good. Do we ever figure it out, really?
I haven't.
You just kind of ride the wave, right?
Yeah, that is it. You just go with the flow. Yeah.
You
don't try to fight it. My mom, she watches a lot of news, so she tries to talk a lot of politics, and I'm just like, Mom, that does not exist in my world. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Well, there's so much space for worry and I'd rather fill that space with something else.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I was trying to tell her, you can't, she's old and bitter. not really. She acts like it though. She's not really, but acts like it. I don't get it, but yeah, she's like, hey, you got this moment. You want to waste it worrying on the future or thinking about the past? Just enjoy. But the gas, and I'm like,
it is what it is.
Pulled the money out of my wallet. Go, this is all fake too. This is all artificial, and that's all kind of part of what inspired my concept for this next series. Is just the AI. AI is. I
may bitch about the prices and stuff, but I'm still going to spend it.
Right. Yeah.
We're going to eat.
Still got to eat.
Yeah. Got to put the gas in the tank, Ma. What do you want to do?
Yep.
But AI is getting. We knew it was going to be, but it's a tool. If Rembrandt and Da Vinci had access to it, they'd be using it.
Oh, for sure.
They'd be using Photoshop. They'd be using the tools, and
Isn't that what they're called, Rembrandt? And there's some of those AIs are called that.
Yeah, some of them are.
Yeah. So I think.
Yeah, I agree. It's just a tool that there's always going to be some moral and ethical questioning when it comes to that kind of stuff, and is this the right way to use it? Is it being sourced appropriately? Is it getting its information ethically? And I think it's a little too early to tell. And so there's a lot of gray area in that. But if you're using it appropriately, it is just a tool. And kind of like digital art, people get a bad rap for digital art, and for a long time, and even now in some circles, it's not considered art.
Yeah.
And our last show, we had both of them were digital artists.
Yep.
And again, I had a whole conversation with somebody about this whole, is it art? And I said, well, artists use a paintbrush, you use a whatever it is, the tool. Photographers use a camera. It's just a tool to make the thing. Your composition, your theory, your color theory, everything has to still be intact, no matter what your tools are. So yeah.
Well, welders are artists too.
Yeah, absolutely.
People build houses.
Yeah.
They're not using paintbrushes.
Right. Yeah.
I think you're getting a little stretching there, Kevin.
But it's not wrong,
They're not artists, according to Josh. Okay.
Yeah.
Maybe the architect who a beautiful house, maybe.
Yeah.
The workers are just the tools. the workers on paintbrushes.
Yeah, that could be it too.
Well, that big mural that's on the grain elevator over there, you think she painted all that, the artist that did it? No, she had a bunch of helpers.
Yeah. They were paintbrushes.
Yep, they were the paintbrushes.
Well, even the old Renaissance artists, they had a team of people that they're painting their work for them. Yeah. And that's no different than any big artist nowadays too. You know, that pumps out work, like an incredible amount of work. You know, they're not doing all that themselves. They have studies and apprentices that come in and lay the foundational colors or do whatever it might be. They're doing all that stuff. So,
well, I was like I said today. We forgot to touch on it earlier. Is World Mario Day, Daylight Savings Time. So it's World Mario Daylight Savings Day. But I was looking up some history of things, just, what happened on today. And in 1914, Diego, I don't even know. I'm going to butcher this guy's last name, so I'm not even going to say it. It starts with a V, but Diego had a painting. The Toilet of Venus was destroyed in the suffrages at the museum in London. But I can't talk today. I don't know what we're. Yes. Have you heard of this painting, the Toilet of Venus?
I have not.
I wanted to do some research, but with trying to get everything going on today, I didn't. But I'm going to have to do some. But it was destroyed in London by horrible people, I would assume.
Yeah.
Horrible people.
Interesting. Why would they destroy a painting of a toilet?
Yeah. Venus's toilet.
Yeah. That also seems very weird because, I mean, modern plumbing wasn't really available for, until not that horribly long ago.
Yeah, I think 1914 would be pushing it.
Yeah.
Maybe it was an outhouse.
Maybe. Who knows?
But, in 1975, the Rocky Horror Picture Show premiered at the Belisco Theater in New York. Ran for 45 performances. That's always a good fun.
That's a fun show.
Yeah. I think we've done a couple, or not we, but here in town, there's been a couple.
You used to do that midnight running every weekend forever, it seemed like.
They used to do it, at least it was once a year, right?
I think so.
And I think it was the Orpheum or the Crown Uptown, one or the two.
Yeah, Pauly Shore, I think, was here last night. I watched Biodome in honor. I wanted to go.
Yeah.
Kind of forgot about it, and then got the reminder in my calendar, at 8:00, and I'm like, man, I don't even know the show.
There was way too many shows in town last night, and out of town, because there's like, oh my gosh, there was like a show in any place that could do a show last night. There was a show. Yeah, that's what I said. We're talking about the entertainment bubble right now.
Yeah, it's great. Yeah, the hard part, and it's kind of with the arts too. The hard part is finding some, single source of information as far as like what's going on, listings, and there's a lot of people that are trying on Facebook and social media about having listings, but also it's hard because artists are just historically procrastinators too. So sometimes we just don't have our crap together in advance. And so it's really hard to put information out there in advance when we don't have it to put out there. So yeah, I know there's been a lot of people that have tried to dream up solutions for all that stuff, but until they can get artists and musicians a little bit more motivated, I don't know that there's a perfect answer to that.
I got it in a little backpack with a boot. Like every 20 minutes kicks you, and you're like, oh
right. Yeah.
But even those that are prepared, the last minute, they're burning the midnight oil, pumping out as much art as they can.
Yep.
No matter. Even the small shows we've done, I'm just like pumping out some of my really quick stuff. And it's what's funny about it is because I don't consider it my signature stuff. It almost always sells. So it's like, what? Yeah. Why don't you buy this one? This is the one I spent.
And sometimes you surprise yourself what you create at the ninth hour. So
yeah,
procrastination is the best motivation.
Yeah, I figured, I think you touched on it a little bit. You can't predict what other people are going to like. So just find something you like and paint it and enjoy it. And I've said for last year and the year before, my solo painting stuff we didn't do on the show was every painting would be polar, it'd be completely different. I'm like, I did that, I want to do something else. But that that's good for learning. But like I said, if we're going into a gallery or something, it's you kind of want a theme or a concept, I would think, in my opinion.
Sometimes people have a whole themed show, and sometimes it's just whatever they collect all together. And it's really hard for us too to try to anticipate what might go over well and what might not go over well, because it's so subjective. And we try to use our historical data has shown that this type of art's done well, or this particular size of work, or whatever. But I mean, it's a crapshoot. You just never know.
Throw it on the wall, see what it takes.
Right. But to Kevin's point, people do want to hear from the artists, and people want to, even if they fall in love with a piece of art, the story behind it is what sells it. And so for the artists, we tell them, we'll handle everything else the night of the show. All you have to do is come here and talk to people about your work. That is your sole job here. And people want to hear about it. So, again, like, we get some really shy, introverted people, but you just have to kind of almost be their cheerleader and just be like, people want to hear about this. They're coming in here to see your work. They want to hear what you have to say about it. And so don't feel like talking about it is a weird or awkward thing, because they wouldn't come here if they didn't want to see it. So sometimes it just needs a little pep talk.
Yeah, exactly.
Another thing I always see too, and you might see it too, especially with a new artist, they got a piece, someone wants to buy it, but they don't want to sell it. And I always tell them, put a price on it, then, that if it does sell, you're willing to get rid of it.
Absolutely.
So even if it's not a piece that would be traditionally worth $1,000, then put $1,000 on it. If that one person walks in with $1,000 and hand you $1,000 worth of cash, you're probably going to say, throw a couple of tears, but say, okay.
Yeah.
You throw a price on it, because a lot of new artists, they're like, well, I don't want to sell it. I like it so much. And I've seen that so many times. And I'm like, well, then I love all the artwork I do, but I usually, right after I'm done with it, I usually don't like it so much.
I'm ready to put it out and start something new. Get the space.
I usually got to come back a couple of days. Yeah.
That's a good piece
step
of
away, and then I come back.
Yeah, that's what we try to tell artists too, is just like, put your don't give a crap price on it. And if it sells, it sells. But at the same time, especially for new artists, like you were mentioning, what are you going to do with all this work? Are you just going to let it sit in your house and collect dust? I mean, why are you making work if it's not to get it out there in the world? And everybody has a different reason for why they make work. And some artists don't make it to sell it, and that's fine too. But the artists that are in here, that's one of the requirements of being an artist in here, is your work needs to be for sale, because we got to keep the lights on somehow. And that's just kind of the nature of this business. And we're trying hard to do that. And and that's another reason why we're open kind of limited hours, is we both work full-time jobs for this glamorous lifestyle. And we do it because it's something we believe in, and we thought we saw a need in the community. And this building was kind of out of our own need of space to get all this crap out of our house. And so, of course, we didn't know all this at that time, but we've increased the amount of things that we have. But we just happened to have a space that had some walls and enough room to do this. And so I'm like, yep, we're doing it. And I won't lie to you, it's tough. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of hand holding. Being an artist, I should have known how tough it is to work with artists.
The anxiety level of some artists are just so, to me, I'm whatever, but I've seen some, why don't they like my art? And they start crying, or
you gotta get kind of thick at some point.
He's talking about himself. He's talking about himself. No, we got about 6 minutes. Let's touch back base on. Okay, I'm gonna flash the screen back up. The address: 310 South Lower, Wichita, Kansas. Go to the website or Facebook to check the hours. Correct?
That's correct. Yep, arthouse310.com. And everybody says, well, I put it in the map and it doesn't work. So I don't know what's going on with the Google Maps and the Apple Maps, but we are 2 blocks southeast of Douglas and Washington, just right near downtown Wichita. We do post our hours during a show each week on our Facebook and our Instagram, which is at Art House 310. So go check that out. We post video virtual tours of each of our shows on our YouTube channel, which is at Art House 310. Yep. There's also go to our Facebook and Instagram. So if you're not local here, you can still see what we're up to. And then during the show, we post individual pieces of art by the artists here. And often we do get buyers from outside of the city and outside of the state that want to purchase artwork, and we're happy to do that too. As soon as we kind of sift through all the bots that are going on right now on the socials, man, it's rough. But
yeah, I stopped a friend from entering a thing because a bot came up saying they still had tickets to buy in and stuff like that. And it turned out they were giving out the booths free. And so I double checked with my other friends who were running the show, and it turned out it was a bot.
Yeah. They're getting sneaky.
I'm glad she didn't just jump on it and send the money.
Yeah, they're getting really sneaky.
Yeah.
And even for artwork, yeah, we get inquiries. I mean, just today alone, I probably had 15 of them that are like, I'd like to purchase this artwork. And it's just like, but do you? And
they all copied and pasted from the same template. It's like, I've got this message a dozen times already. What?
Yeah,
come up with something new. You gotta,
Yeah. So PSA for artists, if you get somebody that reaches out to you on your socials, I mean, of course, you're immediately very flattered because you're like, oh, somebody wants to buy my artwork. But we always ask for a phone number and an address. They're always very willing to give an address. It's usually in the middle of a field somewhere, but we call people and speak to them directly before we even consider selling any artwork for somebody who's not here local. And that usually debunks the bots or the scammers, and they don't want to do that. So,
yeah. So who do you got for next month? Who's going to be there?
Yeah, next month is Dennis McPhail and Jason Crile, and it's going to be a wild show. Yeah.
I thought you were going to make me push this screen.
No, you don't need to. But she didn't mention that one. So.
I spent time on that fancy screen. Like I said, like I was getting ready to say, not only do you got to be an artist, you got to be an IT guy, you got to be a social media guru, you got to be a marketer, you got to be, you got to take all this stuff.
He's looking at me like I don't know. It's just that, yeah, I don't help much with this part of it, but I apologize. So.
Yeah, it's going to be a great show. Opens April 5th from 6 to 10.
Does the comment thing work? Has anybody even left comments today?
I don't think so.
Oh, we had a few people come on. Yeah, usually people leave comments and we can actually post them at the bottom of the screen.
I mean, I'm not 100% sure we're even live right now, so I don't know, Kevin.
Well, it says we are.
Well, you're on live because it was going when I was. Yeah, so
we could just been talking to ourselves for an entire hour.
At least because at
least it's recorded.
I steer everybody to the YouTube side anyway. So a lot of people that haven't heard about us, I say, hey, go to YouTube. This is where we're at. Have a second look at it. You'll see 100 and some episodes, and there's also some for the music and stuff like that. So I'm always telling people about it.
Yeah, we'll definitely share the link for your YouTube channel out to you, and I hope you guys keep doing this and getting some good artists and musicians and different people. Again, just make it more known in the community, and we all support each other. So
it takes a tribe. We've got a lot of throughout the 3 years. I've met a lot of cool people that I wouldn't have met.
You even had a few imitators too, so that's kind
of that's flattery, right?
Yeah. Well, the full saying, I think I've seen something. The full saying, but imitation is flattery for those who can't do I'm messing it up now.
Those that can't do teach, or is that right?
Yeah. Well, that's true too, but it's like I'll have to look it up. I'll post the real one, and then we'll go from there.
Well, there so far you can kind of see what we've done.
Not much right now at all. I mean,
ever since you said it looked like a hamburger, that's all I see.
Now. I can see the Earth part now. Yeah.
This one's going to be very transformative, so it'll be fun.
Yeah, we got a lot of steps. Well, not a lot of steps, but
like I said, I'm going to try to put some barbed wire. I got to figure out how to mount the barbed wire
on this one.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you were talking about the other one. Okay.
That, like I say, that's the concept. It's hard to convey your concept.
Right.
So it's like,
So I'll bring
if
in
he's got a concept, we just roll. That's how it works.
I got a hot glue gun, and that will make it stick. I really do. I can bring it in.
I got a glue gun too.
Okay, we can
We'll
silicone
cut-
it on so people won't cut themselves. Maybe.
Yeah.
Well, all right. Well, thank you for coming on. We're gonna
Thank
wrap
you.
it up. We're a couple seconds short of an hour. We actually made it a whole hour, I think. No technical difficulties other than the light falling. That was minor. I can live with that. Definitely do not like the setup. It's awkward standing there and painting. So gotta make it a little less awkward when you're working.
Well, and we're used to the mic being kind of the other way too,
Yeah.
and that kept doing it. And you even kind of kept yourself a couple of times. Then I realized, wait, the mic's right here. I need to stop doing that.
But all right, we will definitely. I'm gonna definitely come out and check out the next Final Friday.
Yeah.
And, we'll see you then for sure.
It'll be a good show. Thanks for having me, guys.
Yep. Thank you.
All right.
Bye bye.
Yeah.
Is in there or will it change?